If you're a maintenance supervisor for a commercial property, you've had to deal with everything from leaky faucets to flickering light bulbs. But nothing's worse than that ancient boiler that's lived in the building since the day it was built, 50 years ago. It's enough to make anyone lose their cool. That's where Grainger comes in. With industrial-grade products and dependable fast delivery, Grainger can help with any challenge, from worn-out components to everyday necessities. Call, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
In this episode, we're going to be discovering accepting what is your inner work. So grab yourself a cup of tea, get cozy, and let's dive in. Welcome to Accepting, where I guide you to accept all aspects of your beautiful self, embrace your truth, and live your life that way. Hello, gorgeous, and a warm welcome to Accepting. I'm Aline, your host. I'm a channel, I'm a mentor, I'm a coach, and I love to see sensitives, empaths, highly sensitive people in all walks of life flourish. In this episode, we're going to be discovering accepting what is your inner work. So grab yourself a cup of tea, get cozy, and let's dive in. So following on from the previous episode, which is about accepting and discovering your unique rhythm, I really felt that it's really important that we start discovering what is our own inner work. So what I would really like to delve into today is, in the previous episode, we spoke about identifying our unique rhythm because we're not all the same. And the previous episode was just baby steps of identifying how that can look. And I gave you some journaling questions to feel into that. So hopefully you've been feeling into that for the past week or so and really feeling into those questions of, how do I feel grounded and centered? How do I wake up in the morning? When do I take the first action for myself in the morning? All of those kind of questions. And you may feel into yourself, what questions do you want to ask yourself as well? That's really, really important. And I'd like to say, and I have said this before, it's so important that you feel into what works for you, because I might say something. Excuse me, my cat's on my lap. For those of you who are watching, my cat's on my lap. So a little bit of cat fur. So it's really important that as you're listening, as you're watching, if there's something you don't agree with, feel into that, because that's really important. We are not all the same. It's really important that you have your own opinions and your own feelings about things. It might be, I say, this would be a great journaling question to ask, and you say, well, no, it's not. I'd rather ask this. Ask that one. Okay? Because we're all at different stages. And it's really important to recognize that as I'm speaking to you, this isn't necessarily one-to-one, although it can very much feel one-to-one, because I try and feel into as many situations as possible, and as many messages that are coming in that I'm being guided to share. We are all unique and different, and this is a conversation for many. When I work with my clients, if we were working a one-to-one, it's very different because we're honing in on yourself. So please keep that in mind. Please keep that in heart as you're listening. There may be something that feels different for you or better for you and to work that way. Okay? Wonderful. So, accepting your inner work. Now, there's been here comes the paw. For those of you who are listening, Cleo just put her paw on me, my cat. So for those of you who've seen all of the episodes so far, and if you haven't, I really invite you go back and watch them, because each one builds on the other. And I had the most beautiful conversation with the wonderful astrologer, Patricia Tabares. That was out on the Christmas day. And more recently had the most beautiful conversation with my mentors, Christos T. Perry and Foster Perry, a most beautiful conversation as well. So if you haven't seen those episodes or listened to those episodes, I highly invite you to go back, because they build on each other. Now, what I would really like to feel into is about the inner work that works for you, because 4 or 5 episodes ago, I'm going to go back and check which one, we ended a process, and I am going to continue this process. I just very much feel at the moment, because all that's going on in the world, all that's happened in America, in the United States of America, all that's happening around the world in Europe as well, there's a real sense that we can get a little distracted from what really works for us, because we can enter into that energy of the collective outside of fear, because we don't know what's going to happen. Relax, nothing's under control. We don't know what's going to happen. So before we're going into our day, before we're going in to help anybody else, before we're going to work, before we're going to the office, etc., 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 it's really important that we work on ourselves inside, because there are going to be distractions. There are distractions everywhere. And it's just recognizing that is life. Even if you work from home, there are distractions. Even if you're in the middle of the countryside somewhere, which actually is where I am at the moment, there are distractions. There was a tractor outside this morning and lots of banging and knocking going on, and I'm still recording. It's still continuing our work through the distractions. There are always going to be distractions. So it's recognizing what is the best inner work for me. So what I would really invite you to do, and again, this is journaling. In the previous episode, I spoke about just waking up, if you can, 10 minutes earlier and waking up with gratitude. So in this episode, hopefully for the last week or so, you've been doing those 10 minutes earlier, or you might be doing more by now, of waking up 10 minutes earlier. And if you haven't listened to that episode, you can absolutely go back. I will just summarize what I said so we can continue. So in the previous episode, one of the very important elements of that was, rather than jumping into your brand new morning routine, was feeling into it. So just giving yourself 10 minutes first to wake up 10 minutes earlier with your eyes closed and feeling into 3 things that you are grateful for before you open your eyes. And if you automatically open your eyes, don't worry. Just feel into, what am I grateful for? What am I grateful for? And I mentioned it may help you if you wake up with an alarm on your phone when you go to switch it off, that you have your name and I am grateful for, or your name and inner work, just to remind you. So if you're waking up and you're looking at something immediately, there's a distraction. It's bringing you back. And it's, okay, I'm grateful for my body. I am grateful for this beautiful day. I'm grateful for my breath. I'm grateful for my family. There's so much to be grateful for. So just 3 things every morning. And you can build on that. You can build and build and build. Absolutely. So from there, you're waking up in a space of gratitude. So then what I would really invite you to do is start feeling into your inner work. So before delving into your inner work, it's what works for you. There are lots of different elements of inner work. So I take you through journeys. I take you on self-healing journeys. And the elements that I fundamentally work with are the inner child, the inner protector, the inner mother, the inner father. I work with the elements of nature. I work with the earth element, I work with the water element, I work with the fire element, and I work with the air element. And I also work with the feeling of Gaia. There are so many different ways that we can work. So I would really feel into what really works for me at the moment. It may be you just need to be doing some grounding, my gorgeous. So it may be, right, okay, so I'm going to work with the earth element today. So once I've said my 3 feelings of gratitude, maybe more, I'm going to wrap my coat around me, put my shoes on, go outside if I have a garden, and I'm going to put my hands on the earth. I'm going to ground myself. That might work for you. If you are in a space where you're not in a garden, do you have any plants? Are there any plants in the house? Can you go to the plants and put your hands on the plants and feel yourself and feel your connection with nature and feel that grounded element. And Cleo's agreeing with me. For those of you who are listening, she just put her paw up on my heart again. So, so feeling into that groundedness, the year of the wood snake is feeling grounded, is feeling centered. So that element of earth, right? Okay, so I'm feeling grounded. What works for me? So if you don't have any plants in your house, that's okay. We have other ways. You have some salt. That will work too. What I would really invite you to do is just get some salt between your hands. And also, salt showers are amazing. I would hugely invite you, and this is a little aside, after you come home from work, after you come from the supermarket, from anywhere, as sensitives, as highly sensitive people, when we go into environments where there's other people, as much as we can protect ourselves and we can have our intentions, it's really important just to do a little cleanse afterwards. So I really recommend salt shower with a shower with salt. So a salt shower. You can just put it with your shower gel. I couldn't find the word. Put it with your shower gel, and that cleanses away. Remember, if you've been to the sea, how amazing you feel after you jumped in the sea, because the sea removes negative ions, and that is the salt element. So anything that has stuck to you that's not going to be for your greatest good, it's just going to rinse that off. So what I would invite you to do is, if you can't go outside and ground yourself and put your feet on the ground, or put your hands on a tree, or hug a tree, or you don't have a plant on a balcony, you haven't got any plants in the house, is work with salt, because that's hugely grounding as well. Okay, so I would work with that first. So that's the grounding element. And it may be that you wish to work with other elements. So for example, let's say with the salt shower, you're working with the element of water anyway, which is purification and cleansing. And you may feel into, with the water element as well, you can actually charge water, which is a very beautiful thing to do. So what you can do, my cat on my lap again. So what you can do with water is, and this is in a work, because you can write something in a circle. You can create your own sigils. You can write, I am loved, I am blessed, I love myself, any kind of beautiful affirmation, and you can put a glass of water over that. You can also, I can take you through that another time. You can also, if you wanted to do that with holy water, you can also bless the water. It's the intention. And you leave that glass of water on there, say for about 3 minutes, and it says, I am loved. Make sure it's in a circle, so it's concreted in there. And then you leave the water 3 minutes charging on that beautiful affirmation, and then you drink it. And you don't just knock it back, you drink it in a way, and you feel, I am loved, I am blessed, I am loving, I am protected. Whatever it is, you're putting that into your system. And your system is feeling that, because we're mostly water, aren't we? So when you're putting that element of water in with that beautiful feeling, that's going to go all through your system as well. So that's a very beautiful thing to do. So as well as with the salt shower, with the water and the salt, and you're using both of those elements, you can also work with the water that way. And this is inner work, because although we're doing action on the outside, it's fundamentally helping us on the inside. Okay? Because absolutely inner work, and I'm going to go through that with you as well, inner work is also very much going inside. This way we're preparing ourselves, and we're kind of meleeing outer work with inner work, which is actually inner work. Okay? So the reason I'm talking about this is because there's so many people who say to me, oh, well, I can't meditate, I can't do journeys. I'm going to take you through something to help you with that. So the next element I would like to talk about is the air element. And the air element is everywhere. It's when we're speaking, it's when we're breathing, it's all around us. So with the air element, you can do so much with working with this. If you find that you've been a little bit short of breath, you may have felt a little bit anxious, You may have felt a little bit stressed. Working with the air element is really, really beautiful. It is a really beautiful way. As much as we are water, we are also air, our lungs. And many of us have very, very shallow breathing because we can go through the day, we can go through life, rush, rush, rush here, rush, rush, rush there, without taking the time for ourselves. And this is where breathing exercises come in. Breathing exercises are wonderful. And I'm going to take you through a 5-5-5 actually, which I feel will really help. In fact, before my video series, Embrace Yourself, before we go through into the healing journey, I take you through the 5-5 as well. So with that air element, it's really feeling into just taking that time, just taking that moment for yourself and feeling into, when we do that deep sigh, it's of relief. And our body also, when we're in breath work, it's like, thank you. Because our body is doing so much for us. It's keeping us here. It's keeping us going. Sometimes we're on adrenaline. Sometimes it's going, 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 going. So when we just take a breath, it's just like, our body's like, thank you so much. In fact, just try it now. Place your hand on your heart, close your eyes, and just take a breath in for 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and hold it for 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and breathe out for 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Now that one, we've only just done one round of that, automatically helps us get into a space where we're ready to receive inner work. It's a really beautiful one to do. So we've connected with the earth, we've connected with water, we've connected with air. We're all of those elements inside us. So this is why it's really, really beautiful to identify which elements to work with. And we can work with them all. It's just feeling into, well, which one is working with me today, or do I need all of them? So you may feel, after we've gone through that 5-5-5, I really hope you're feeling a lot more relaxed with that, because I know I do. Just taking that time, taking that breath. When we have breathtaking moments, when we look in nature and see the most beautiful sky, when we watch the most beautiful scene in the theatre, or when we watch the most beautiful scene on a film, or when we read the most beautiful episode in a book, it's breathtaking. It's putting us into a beautiful space of feeling the now and taking that breath in and taking that moment in, because it makes us present. And here, and Cleo's moving again. So we've gone through so they're the 3 elements that we've gone through. So the 4th element is fire. And with fire, there are many, many ways to work with fire. If you have a gorgeous log burner in your house, I highly recommend, in these winter months, well, whenever you wish, is getting a fire going and just feeling that coziness and the warmth of the fire. The sun is fire. It's feeling that element of warmth and sun, that radiance in us. So with the fire element, it's also very beautiful to light candles. It's really beautiful to light candles. So with your inner work, even if you just light a candle and you just sit, and you don't write, you don't do any meditation, you don't do anything, you just sit in the moment and gaze at the flame, or you gaze out the window, or you gaze at anything, just taking 5 minutes with a candle lit. That is amazing to do, because the fire reminds us of warmth. The fire reminds us of our hearts. The fire, the hearth. If you're watching this, there's a hearth behind me. What are the letters in hearth? Heart. So it's really inviting us to go back to our hearts when we work with fire energy. And none of this has to be complicated, just really simple things that we can do. So although I'm talking about inner work, I'm talking about working with the elements around us, which are outside of us, would actually help with our inner work. Okay? So the the intention for this episode is for you to feel into, actually, I already do inner work. I already go outside in nature and I take a breath and I look up. I already light candles. I already have a shower or a bath. I already work with plants, or I already go for a walk outside and sit under a tree. It's actually recognizing you probably already do this, my gorgeous. And if you don't, no judgment. It's the intention of this is just to give you some ideas for you to feel into, okay, so what works for me? Because as I said, we are all unique, and our way of grounding and centering and healing and feeling into elements is different. So this episode has been about working with inner work with elements. The next episode is going to be working with the inner work, and we are going to go inside. Actually, in inner work, inside, we're going to do a little self-healing journey in the next episode. I felt just for this one, it's really important just to feel into the inner work that actually is already around you, that you're already doing. So you can just start being aware of that action when you're taking it. You can have an intention when you take that action, rather than just feeling into automatic pilot. I'm going to light the fire, I'm going to light a candle. Feel into being in that present moment as you're taking that action, because that is inner work. That already is inner work, and it's so beautiful. Okay, so I really hope that you enjoy this episode and it's helping you. Do get in touch with me. I love to hear from you. I've been having some really beautiful comments, so I'm going to carry on. And the next episode is going to be feeling into the inner work that feels right for you. So I'm going to take you through a process. In fact, we're just going to go straight into it. I'm going to take you through a process immediately in the next episode that is going to help you journey with the elements, and it's going to help you feel into, as you're exploring your inner work inside your heart, what works for you. Okay, so for now, my gorgeous, here is to your self-acceptance with so much love. Ho. Thank you so much for joining me for this episode of Accepting. Please do stay tuned for future episodes, and also subscribe wherever you get your podcasts. If there's anything at all that you'd like me to cover in future episodes, please get in touch and let me know. You can also follow me on Instagram at The Acceptance Coach, and on TikTok at Solution Union 99. And if you'd like to have any coaching at all, or you would like to discuss this, do book an expansion call. For now, I'm your host, Aline, and to your self-acceptance, gorgeous, with so much love.